Picture this. You are an analyst, and you are working on the biggest IPO of the decade. The pressure's on, the stakes couldn't be higher, and then an email lands in your inbox. An email that could change everything for your analysis, and maybe, just maybe, your entire career. Let's see what it says. So you get this email from a contact you respect, and on the surface, it seems pretty harmless, right? Just asking for a little feedback. But you notice those key phrases: participating in the IPO, feedback on prospects and risks, and then the kicker that really sets off the alarm bells: please treat all the attached material as confidential. All of a sudden, this isn't such a simple request anymore. So you've put your thoughts together, you've attached your confidential work, and your finger is literally hovering over the mouse. This is that moment of truth. What do? Do you actually hit send? See, this isn't just about firing off an email. This is a major ethical crossroads. Whatever you decide in this split second could send ripples out that affect investors, your own company, and honestly, the entire market. An IPO, that's an initial public offering, is when a company first goes public. And the integrity of that process, well, it's everything. So what does our analyst do? Instead of just reacting, they pause. And that is the most critical first step you can take. They recognize this isn't a simple yes or no question. It needs a more thoughtful, structured approach to really understand all the pressures and the potential fallout. This is exactly where the power of an ethical decision-making framework comes in. And I know that sounds kind of academic, right? But it's a real-world tool that pros use to break down a complicated problem before they make a move. The whole point is to make you slow down, especially when your gut is screaming at you to just act fast. The framework kicks off with just identification. You're not looking for the answer yet, you're just mapping out the terrain. What are the cold hard facts here? Who's going to be affected by what you decide? Where are the hidden conflicts? And, most importantly, what are the core principles that are supposed to be guiding you through all this? Okay, so first, you just lay out the facts. Our analyst knows this is a massive deal. A successful IPO means a huge win for the firm. But they also have to think about the outside pressures, what their supervisor expects, and the fact that the entire industry is under a regulatory microscope. And just look at this web of responsibility. It's not just about your boss or your client. Your duty actually extends to the other banks on the deal, to every single person who might invest, and ultimately to the market and society as a whole. Every little action sends a ripple through this entire ecosystem. Now, this whole IPO situation is just one type of ethical trap. Professionals have to navigate these kinds of minefields every single day. So let's run through a few other common scenarios that can trip up even the most careful person. All right, scenario 1. A company comes to you and says, hey, we'll pay you to write a research report about us. Seems like a pretty sweet deal, right? Get paid to do your job. But what's the potential problem here? Yep, there it is. The official guidance says this is fraught with potential conflicts. The moment their money hits your bank account, your independence is totally compromised. What looks like an objective analysis is really just a paid advertisement. Okay, here's another one. Your firm is sending out marketing materials, and they look amazing. The performance numbers are through the roof. But then you realize they're only showing the accounts that did really, really well. The ones that lost money, well, they've been conveniently left out. This practice is called cherry picking, and the rules are crystal clear. It's a major violation because it completely misrepresents the real performance. You're supposed to show the full, honest picture, not just the high-bet reel. This is a classic. The investment banking side of the house is trying to win a big deal, and a manager comes to you, the analyst, and says, hey, we could really use a favorable rating on this stock, to help us seal the deal. It's that internal pressure we were talking about. But an analyst's number one duty is to their own independent judgment. Your opinion has to be yours and yours alone, totally free from any pressure, whether it's coming from inside your firm or from a client. The recommendation has to be your true, unbiased take, period. So, with all these traps and pressures, how does anybody navigate this world? Well, it's not about memorizing 1,000 different rules. It's about having an internal compass, a set of principles that always point you in the right direction. Professionals in finance are guided by a core code of ethics. You can think of it as their North Star. And it really just boils down to these key ideas. Be careful and be independent. Act like a professional. Always keep learning. And always, always work to protect the integrity of the market. And that last point, that might be the most powerful one of all. It shows that ethics in finance isn't just about staying out of trouble. It's about a much higher purpose, making sure the markets are fair and working for the good of everyone in society. Which brings us right back to our analyst, their confidential report, and that blinking cursor. So now, armed with a framework and guided by these principles, what did they end up doing? They delete the email. Simple as that. Decisive. Instead of sharing confidential info, the analyst picks up the phone. They start calling contacts to talk about the tech sector in general, its prospects, its challenges, without ever mentioning the specific company or the IPO. They got the insight they needed without ever crossing a line. In the end, all of this really comes down to just one thing: trust. We trust professionals to navigate these super complex situations with integrity. Because honestly, a financial system without trust is just a casino. So the real question this leaves us with is, when it comes to your own future, who do you trust to be your compass?